So a very warm welcome to this breakout group. Today, I think we're going to talk about something that I think we all know about, that why sustainability or why organic food is good for us and for the planet. And it's a topic which is very very close to my heart. But and I'll start with introducing myself. So I'm Ekta Jaju. I work with organic company called Organic Foods in West Bengal. We are a social enterprise. We work with smallholder farmers in a few districts of West Bengal who have switched from growing conventional food to organic food. And we work with them on a contract farming model, buy their produce, process it, and sell it to organic companies across India and in Europe. One of the reasons why we started this venture was because I very strongly believe that organic farming can, change a lot for the smallholder farmers. It is the way forward for smallholder farmers and can benefit them in, multiple ways. And a social enterprise model, because I feel that we want to do something which is scalable, where we can help more and more farmers turn organic, and maybe create a movement of sorts for organic. So that's a little bit about my background. And so coming back to this topic, so we have two ways of going forward. One could, because this is a 1.5 hour long session, so that's quite a long session. So either we could do a 1 week communication where I can just run you through the PPT and run you through the slides, or we could do an interactive session where we could talk to each other and learn from each other. And a lot of times I feel that a lot of this information is available with us. We know a lot of this, and it's just about understanding about what's going on. So feel free to unmute yourselves, or I don't know if it's possible to chat on this, but if you want, please unmute yourself and let me know if you have a preference for a one-way session or an interactive session. I usually prefer interactive, but I'm happy either ways.
Ma'am, interactive session will better for all of us.
Okay, I think some
Ma'am,
people.
session will be good.
Okay, perfect. Great. So I think I'll take it for interactive session. In case someone feels otherwise, let me know. I think some people are saying it's not audible, but I am audible, right?
Yes, ma'am, very much clearly.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, so Mr. Saurav and Mr. Mohammed, just check your speaker and preferences once, just in case there is any problem with that, please. Great. So I think we can start. Ankita Di, can you please move to the next slide? Ankita Di, I think you're playing the old PPT. This is not the PPT that I have shared with you. Can you please download the PPT I have
Sure,
mailed
sure,
you?
I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. So can you go back to the older slide, please, Ankita Di? Oh, okay, ठीक है, no problem. You continue. We'll start with the discussion. So I think the first slide is it's just about understanding. So do you know where we're talking about food and we're talking about climate change? So does anybody have any idea on how did it all start? So I've already mentioned green revolution, but how did it all start? Like, why did we start having a problem with food and carbon emissions? And if someone can share, please.
Ma'am, because of population.
Why? Because of population?
Ma'am, because more population needs more food. That's
Okay.
why.
Ma'am,
Okay.
may I?
Yes, yes, please.
Ma'am, because of excessive use of green revolution, as we all know that in green revolution
Sorry,
we use chemicals and all. So
Okay.
large production, because of large production.
Large production in chemical, population, anything else?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, please.
So, this was due to the reaction of pesticides and fertilizers that were used in growing plants for agriculture. And people started realizing that using these chemical and pesticides to rapidly increase the growth of plants, they were also having an adverse effect on human health. So this is where organic food started. So yes, ma'am, that would be my answer.
Lovely. I mean, that's what we're going to cover through the entire presentation. But thank you so much. Very useful. Anybody else wants to have a go or share anything else? I can give you all some more, uh, help. So when you say population, of course, we're talking about population, we're talking about food insecurity. But how did all of these, how did suddenly one fine day people woke up and said, let's do this and this will solve this problem and this is great. Okay, so I'll give you all a little background. This is where a lot of, my interest in food started. So this is a little bit around politics, around food. So I'll start a little bit around that. I mean, the idea of the session is not to make you all activists, but I think it's also very important for us to understand history and, how things came about, which a lot of times gives us different perspective into what we sometimes think is a problem, or sometimes we think as reasons for the problem. So I think very rightly said. I think a lot of the reason why this started and it continued is because people believe that higher, there's been a population explosion, there's a higher demand for food, and so we naturally need more food, which is difficult to get through organic or natural farming. But on the other side, I don't know how many of us really know that 40% of the food that is grown currently is actually wasted and gets wasted along the supply chain. So, sometimes when, people question that, how would we tackle food security with natural or organic production? I mean, naturally, one reaction that comes is, why aren't we looking at, wastage as a problem? 40% increase is something that we can immediately get from wastage. So maybe, food security may not be an accurate, reason for doing what we are doing to our planet. You've spoken about large productions of requirement of large production and usage of large amount of chemicals. How did this chemical come about being? How did we one fine day wake up and realize that chemicals are great for the farm? How did we suddenly realize how to farm these chemicals, or prepare these chemicals? And this is where I come back to a little bit of politics around food. So I don't know if you all know, but nitrogen is a very big component of the fertilizers that that we put into our food system. And nitrogen is something that's there in the air. So we have to find. It's very important for growth, for things like that. And it's available in the air, but we did not start to think about how do we make this nitrogen available to the plants for agricultural purposes. Very significant another use for nitrogen is to prepare explosives, right? And so this whole production was started around the World War II, where they figured that this is how nitrogen can be collected, and this is how nitrogen can be used to prepare ammunition, which went into the World War II. So this was around the 1930s, when the US government spent millions of dollars to do research on how to produce nitrogen. And also the fact that to produce these nitrogenous fertilizers or nitrogen, it requires a lot of electricity. So a lot of these plants that were built to prepare ammunition that would go into the war were built around natural gas pipelines and hydroelectric dams and things like that, so they could get cheap electricity. And so a lot of these plants were produced for during the World War II. And naturally, once the World War was finished, there was literally no use for these plants anymore. They were producing 730 tons of ammonia each year, to fuel the World War. And these plants had capacities for 1.6 million tons. So after the World War, this nitrogen industry, so to say, came to a standstill. And then they suddenly realized that this ammunition could also have an alternate use in agriculture and for crop production. So technically, that ammunition that was going to kill lives earlier was now transferred to our agriculture fields. And there was, of course, a lot of research done, because you can't just directly throw, these kind of things into plants and, not harm. There's, of course, a lot of harm that we know is being caused because, of using these things on our field. But, a lot of research was done to see how can we minimize, harm that can be done because of direct contamination of these things into our food system for our farmers and things like that, so that an alternative use could be found for something that was built for war purposes. Yeah, so that's how the Green Revolution came about being. And yeah, so that's a little bit around the history of this. Didi, can you move to the next slide, please? Right. So when we start talking about climate change and impact of agriculture on climate change, does anybody else, I don't want you all to read all the slides, please don't, but is there anything that anybody wants to share on how they think that conventional farming or green revolution is having an impact on the environment and the climate change? A lot of this is technical data, so I don't want, you all can go through this, but this is not what I want to discuss. I want to discuss about what you all know and understand. So does anybody want to, share how they think it's impacting the climate?
Hello.
Yes, Saurav, please share.
I just share a data that due to rice cultivation, the the methane emerges from rice field. This causes of greenhouse gases or global warming effect. Due to conventional rice farming, and lots of global warming is happening.
True, absolutely true. Anybody else wants to share anything else?
Ma'am, it causes to the pollution of our groundwaters.
Absolutely. There is a huge contamination problem with our groundwaters because of runoff of these fertilizers into our groundwater. Also, pollution of the rivers and other water bodies because of pollution, because of the fertilizers. Absolutely. And as you can imagine, this was, actually ammunition that has somehow been made to work for agriculture. And so this is actually, a lot of this is just poison that was meant to kill, which is now, across our food chain, our water chain. Absolutely. Anything else?
Yes, ma'am, as it
Soil
causes
erosion.
soil erosion.
Yes, do you know a little bit more about why soil erosion is actually happening because of conventional farming?
Yes, ma'am, as in conventional farming, they use synthetic fertilizer, pesticide, and many more harmful chemicals. So it naturally causes the soils. When we used to cultivate, or during cultivation process, we use this chemicals.
Right. So this has completely degraded the soil quality, the soil's ability to hold on to itself, soil's ability to hold on to moisture. And so when there is a rainfall or something, soil just automatically washes away. Absolutely. Anybody else? Somebody was sharing something. Does anybody else want to share anything? Right. So I think very rightly pointed out. Of course, agriculture has a huge impact on climate change because of emissions, methanes, things like that. For agriculture, we're actually cutting down a lot of our forests, which were carbon sinks, and now those are not there. There's mindless agriculture going on currently. A lot of emissions coming from rice fields which are being grown conventionally. Water, holding on to the rice fields is creating a lot of methane gas. And apart from this causing climate change, there are lots of other issues related to pollution and health, which is being currently caused because of using chemicals in our field. And also a big chunk of this contribution comes from the livestock. None of you have really mentioned about livestock, but earlier how we used to have these poultry in our house, free range eggs that we call right now. Right now, a lot of this livestock is being cultivated, kept in degradable conditions, and and a lot of the way how these cattle and pigs are being cultivated uh, is also causing a huge climate change. Also, the kind of input requirement that's going, because I think now more and more people, we've started consuming more and more meat. A lot of meat consumption has started to happen globally, and so because of that, very unhygienic conditions, and a lot of these cattle are being kept and farmed, and the production is significantly increased. So that is also putting a lot of stress on the planet. So yes, a lot of the way we are consuming food now, monoculture, preferring to eat a few things over many things, our preference of meat over vegetables is causing a lot of pressure on the planet. Does anybody else want to share anything else about it? Does anybody else want to talk about anything else before we move on from this slide? Okay, so while agriculture may not be the largest contributor to climate change, when you look at it in the scheme of things, energy, coal, a few things like that are higher up on the list. But I think the kind of energy that we spend on production of fertilizers, the kind of energy that we spent on growing of this livestock, is putting a lot of pressure on our planet, and looking at how we can reduce this can significantly impact climate change. Ankita, can we move on to the next slide, please? So please don't look at this, but does anybody want to quickly talk about how can we look at, what changes can we look at what we are doing currently, and how can organic or natural farming benefit climate change? And we're going to talk about this from multiple angles on, causes of climate change, and, how can we reduce it. But does anybody else want to, share about how they think natural farming can support some of these things? And you can take hints from what's written on the screen. Yes, Srihari, please, you want to say something?
Yes, actually, by doing natural farming and or organic farming, so there are a lot of aspects which we need to consider into place, such as while we are doing a commercial farming, it will be a monocrop where there'll be only, and there's a lot of machineries which
We
are
can't
used.
hear you anymore. Srihari?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so there's a lot of machineries which are being used. So by using machineries, as one of the person was telling about the soil erosion, by frequently plowing the land, there's no green patch which is lying on the soil. So it's just like a burnt hand, or literally like a burnt skin on a human. So through this, there's a lot of erosions which take place. So I consider by doing natural farming and using a very different concept like a food forest or certain things like that. Or else, when if you come into organic, because I am currently doing farming in around 20 acres of plot. So I have certain experiences which I am implementing through whatever research I've done. So through this, we can reduce the consumption of water. Even we can try to get more yield and even reduce the carbon emissions. Because what is happening is a lot of waste have been burnt, so which is again leading to carbon release of carbon. So that can be reduced, because one of the major issue in Delhi is because of the smoke which is burnt from the stock. So that will be reduced. But again, if you put back the same stock into the soil, it acts as a mulch, and or else it will be like a carbon sink. We can consider it on a longer term. So these are certain things which I try to follow, and I'm trying to make it a very eco-friendly and sustainable kind of agriculture.
Absolutely. Very, very well put, Srihari. Thank you so much for that. Does anybody else want to share what they think or anything from their experience?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, please, Saurabh.
when we basically practice our chemical farming, the residue of pesticides or another chemicals is kept on the plant or the soil, and it shows biomagnificent effect with really harmful for our body and also our chemical. But when we shift in organic, like organic pesticides or organic stimulant or organic fertilizer, it can be degraded by our bacteria. So there is no biomagnificent effect or no harmful residue in the soil or our body.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Saurabh. So I think climate change, definitely looking at natural farming, organic farming, agroforestry, various things like that. So, they also help to store carbon in the soil. They help to bring back carbon in the soil. More than that, a lot of issues related to pollution get taken care of by using natural farming methods. A lot of unnecessary wastage of fertilizers and chemicals. So in chemical farming, a lot of time, about 70 to 80% of the fertilizer that's actually been put is not really uptaken by the plants, and it's all a waste. And so all the energy that goes into making that fertilizer, transporting that fertilizer, uh, putting that fertilizer, again using mechanization, all of that energy plus that fertilizer in itself is getting wasted, getting into water, so degrading, causing health problems. While in the organic farming system, like he mentioned, you use a lot of natural material, a lot of recycling happens. So a crop residue which was a waste in the conventional system is now actually food for the crop. Um, and it can have a significant impact on the health of the planet. So absolutely, when we're talking about climate change, while agriculture is not directly contributing, but it has a huge indirect contribution in terms of manufacturing of pesticides, in terms of transportation, in terms of livestock. So it can really significantly reduce climate change. But apart from that, apart from just the climate, are there any other benefits of doing organic farming? Like, who else does it benefit? It benefits the climate, it benefits the planet. Who else does it benefit? Can anybody, does anybody else want to, take a try? Who else is benefiting?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, Justin, we can hear you.
So, ma'am, organic farming, since they do not use pesticides, synthetic pesticides, they are also better for the nearby animals and, for example, birds. So they benefit the ecosystem as well.
Absolutely. A significant improvement to the biodiversity. Birds, definitely birds, because they find food in an organic farm. A lot of the worms, etc., that survive on an organic farm or that thrive on an organic farm form food for birds. Absolutely. So yes, the birds. Anybody else who's benefiting from organic farming apart from the planet?
Am I audible?
Yes, Rachit, we can hear you.
Ma'am, organic farming, it is also beneficial for human beings. Ma'am, like food that are grown organically, they are they contain lot of vitamin C, iron, magnesium, and ma'am also they have like less exposure to nitrates and pesticides.
Absolutely. There are significant challenges of health challenges because of organic food. So it's good for us, for our health. It's good for the planet. Who else? Is there anybody else in this ecosystem? Very important part who also benefits. Okay, Ankita Di, can you move to the next slide, please? Right. So I think we've not spoken about farmers, but they are a significantly important community. They are the people for whom I think I do what I do. I really believe that lots of challenges for organic farming for farmers, and its benefits. Anybody wants to share their experience on how chemical farming is detrimental for farmers, or for especially India, which is 80-90% smallholder farmers. What are challenges that they are facing because of chemical farming and climate change for that matter.
Hello.
Yes, Saurav, we can hear you.
Actually, farmers practice
We've lost you, Saurav.
organic, so they don't try to shift in organic just a single words or just in single times.
Okay. And does anybody else want to share about challenges of chemical farming?
Ma'am, I think the chemicals affect the farmers'
Significantly.
yes, ma'am.
So when we started working with this group of community in Nadia, we currently work with about 500 farmers now, but at that time that community was very small. And this was a district which used chemicals intensely for growing production. It's a very fertile area, but there was also an intensive use of chemicals. And when we went and did a survey with them, this was way back in 2012 or 13. We did a survey with them that, are they interested in organic farming? Because, but I was very interested in organic farming and I thought it could solve the problem. I was told that, if they are interested, only then this would work. So we did a survey with, I think, 100 farmers, and every farmer said yes, they would want to switch. So, we brought them together and we said, what are the challenges that you're facing? And, some of the challenges that, they spoke about were generic. I think some people have also mentioned, but for a farmer, there are significantly big challenges. So one of the key things that came out is they said, since we started using chemicals, 20, 30 years back, earlier we had to put this much kg to, on this much land to get this much increase in yield. Over the years, what we've seen is that quantity has doubled, quadrupled, but the output that we are getting, the increase in the output is actually not proportionate. The increase in the output has significantly come down now. Our plants are becoming more, they're not responding to the chemicals the way they were before. Also, the pricing for the chemicals were way cheaper earlier. And over the years, the price of those same fertilizers, those same pesticides has significantly increased. So agriculture has become very expensive for us. That was one of the generic feedbacks that we got from most of the people. There was some who also were more aware, more vigilant, and they also spoke about how the quality of their land was degrading. So earlier, their soil, when they would pick up soil, it would be teeming with life. It would look fresh. It would look nice. Now that soil was dry, it had developed cracks. It had, if you took it in your hand, it was just a lot of, just dead soil clinging together. It had no life in it. And there was some who also spoke about, health impacts of pesticides. So they spoke about this one boy who, when he was spraying pesticide on his field, he by mistake inhaled some of it and he actually died. And it was a boy from the village. There was another farmer who came forth. He was one of the first farmers in those village to become 100% organic. He came back and he said that I myself ended up spraying some pesticides. And he said that we only spray pesticides in the evening because we are worried that if we spray it in the day or another time, someone will come and, end up inhaling it. So we spray it in the evening and go back to our home so that no one inhales it. But I, by mistake, ended up inhaling and I was in the hospital for 7 days fighting death. So he said, I want to switch to organic farming. He was a very small farmer. He hardly had a few bighas of land, but he was the first person to switch 100% to organic farming. And these stories are, just endless. The number of stories. I think I know a few. The others will know a few, but there are some scary stories, with women who. These are stories I've experienced, but there are some stories that I've heard where women who are engaged in onion cultivation. They developed cracks on their feet, and through that, pesticides started to enter their body. And a huge percentage of them became infertile because of that pesticide that entered their body through their feet on the onion fields. There's some scary stories about farmers were suffering from cancer. A significant amount of them, especially in the Punjab region, that so many of them would, travel by train to get treatments done, that there was a train that was, named after them called the cancer train, because so many, farmers who were impacted by this were using that train to get treatment for themselves. So some very scary stories about, chemicals and farmers, and the kind of price that our farmers are paying for, growing, for increasing that significant production for, cities to consume, who don't want to grow their own food themselves. It's a very unfair system where someone else is really paying the price for the food we want to sit and eat in our homes. Next slide, please, Ankita Di. So this is the next few slides are going to talk about these are actually studies done on the group of farmers that we work with, and how their incomes have increased, the kind of positive benefits that they've been able to see in the last 5 years since we started working with them, and since they switched to organic farming. But more than anything else, now if you go and visit one of our organic farmers in Nadia, and you ask them, how has this changed their life, you will actually see a twinkle in their eye. The whole method of organic cultivation is beautiful. It's not a method where you're, fighting with the nature, trying to, kill the pesticides that come onto your field, or push your plants to grow faster than, they would like to otherwise, or kill all the organisms and all the biodiversity, and focus on monocrop. This is something where you're working with the nature. So instead of throwing, killing everybody, you're attracting the good ones to your field, like someone mentioned birds. So by allowing biodiversity to thrive on your farm, by allowing insects and worms to be on your farm, you're creating an entire food chain. So now birds come onto your field to, grab onto some of these insects. It's a thriving biodiversity, thriving ecosystem that you've created. You're calling the good ones, you're repelling the bad ones. It's beautiful to grow food when you're growing it with the nature. The farmers will actually take you to their field, they will pick some soil up. I don't understand, how the soil has improved. I'm not an expert, but they can see the soil and say, look at my soil. It's, it's alive. It's so much more better than what it used to be. The soil can hold water now. It's an incredible experience. There's so much pride that's come back into farming. So we started with 6 farmers who switched to organic in 2015. So when we started doing training with these group of farmers, they got very excited. They learned how to grow food organically. We said, don't use the hybrids, use your local varieties of seeds, which you can save, because otherwise they end up paying a very high price for buying the seeds year on year. So we said, now you can work with your indigenous varieties, your heirloom varieties, save those seeds and grow. So they came back saying that, great, we love these heirloom varieties. We also grow them for our own consumption, but nobody wants to buy them. So, what do? We can't keep growing them organically and keep stocking it up. We need to feed our families. It's important. And we understand that, for farmers, it's important to, bring back that money to feed their families. They're very hand to mouth. And so we said, what do we do? So they said, you have to promise us that, when we grow food organically, there's going to be someone who will buy it from us. You promise that, organic food has a better market. So, we should be able to earn better by growing organically. Can you promise us all of this? And so, this was a time when we decided to, set up organic foods, which would, then take the burden off the farmers of, selling their produce. We would buy their produce from them, process it into rice, and find markets for it. So this is how seeds for organic food was sown. And since then, we've always bought food that farmers grew for us organically. We brought them under a certification system to bring more trust onto the food that they were growing. And these farmers have done incredibly well in the last 6 years. We've never had a residue problem. This food is now being exported to Germany, and there has never been any pesticide that's been found in this food. And this group of farmers, they actually love doing what they do. So it's not because, we're paying them or, we are telling them to do something. I think this is a group of farmer, that does what they do because they believe in this system, and they grow incredible organic food. They've never looked back. There have been challenges, there have been ups and downs, but this group has just kept growing. So the idea for sharing the story with you is, farmers do believe in this system, and they would want to switch because there are a lot of benefits for them, not just economic benefits. Economic is a very small part of what organic farming brings to a farmer. Once one of our investors asked them that, what if organic shut shop, what if organic ran into losses, what would you do? They said we would still continue to grow food organically for our families. We now know, how it's made a difference to our health, how it's made a difference to our farms. We may not be able to do it economically if there are no markets, but we will continue to do this for ourselves and our homes. And we would love to do this for our customer, because now I know we're selling food which is actually good. But if there is no demand for it, we will just do it for ourselves, but we will never lose that system of production. So that's the kind of faith that farmers have developed into growing food organically. Ankita, the next slide, please. And please feel free to stop. Feel free to add anything from your experiences or anything that you may want to share. Feel free to do that, because I would like this to be more interactive.
Hello.
Yes, Saurav, please.
I want to share an experience.
Please.
I am in Jhargram district in Binpur block. There in one village, our one didi practice fully organic. As last year, from now till now, we are facing a very much problem in chili leaf curl virus or leaf curl problem. But the field of this didi who practice organic, this is fully good. And we have lots of problem by facing who practice chemical in their field. We can't problem, but this field is fully okay. So I want to say that who practice organic, the resistance power of the plants is also very good than chemicals.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've seen this multiple times. Like for the first year that these farmers who had turned organic, they did not believe our word that organic farming will be fine. They'll be able to get decent production. So they actually grew every crop. Half of the land they would grow it organically, half of the land they would grow it conventionally. And at the end of the year, after 3 seasons, they actually became farm works. We organically. I mean, farmers actually lost faith of growing things now because of lack of information, lack of knowledge, lack of experience. That entire expertise has been lost. But when farmers make that switch, take that plunge, they actually realize that it is actually good for them. So these are some of the impacts that we've already seen in the community that we work with. But there could be many more impacts of organic farming in the farming communities. Ankita, the next slide, please. That's fine. I think we've covered most of this. Next slide, please. Right. So I think now we're sort of treading into a territory where we now start talking about how does this translate to us. How does it make a difference to us? It's great that it's impacting the planet. There's a positive impact on the planet. It's great that farmers are benefiting, but why should I become an advocate of organic farming? How does it impact me? And I think a lot of us are now started to see how that problem is reflecting in our homes. Does anybody want to share anything before I start about, have they seen, heard of any impact of chemicals in food on their own health or of the health of their family members? Anybody? Okay, I think I don't mind going, but when I was a child, cancer was very rare. I hardly, knew people like everybody I knew, like not just family, friends, but community. I may have heard of maybe one cancer case, which was my aunt in Bombay. She had cancer when I think I was 16, and that was the first time that I heard about cancer, and we lost her to cancer. But in the last 10 years, if I look, I think I would not be able to count. There will be more people than I can count on my fingers who have lost to cancer. Some from my husband's side of the family, his aunt and his uncle, we lost both of them to cancer 5 years back. In my side of the family, I lost an uncle and the aunt that I spoke to you about to cancer. Last year, my mother was detected with cancer. When I was talking to my friend, her father had cancer. I was my husband's friend. He's when he was in his late 20s. We lost him to oral cancer. I think you know the number of cases that I can just talk about cancer. I'm not even talking about some of the other health impacts of cancer, but when I'm other health impacts of chemicals in food. But when I'm just looking at one disease, the way it's grown rampantly across is crazy, is troubling. And the other kind of diseases, when we start talking about hormonal problems because of the kind of hormones that we put into our plants, into our cattle, into our poultry, is absolutely insane. So the amount of food that's going into plants and then into our bodies has significantly increased. In fact, there are so many diseases that we now see where our bodies have become resistant to certain antibiotics, certain chemicals, because we've had so much exposure to it. The same for the plants, that the pests have become resilient to pesticides, and so the pesticides need to be more and more strong. The same with humans, where the amount of medicines that we used to have to take before, they're just not good enough. We need to keep increasing dosage, increasing the intensity. It created a habit about health, and I think I'm and when I still, like, we start at Organic, we first started off as a retail company, and we would talk to people about how it was impacting health and how it is so important that we switch to organic food. I think I still, especially in Kolkata, in some of the other places, especially abroad, there is a very high awareness on organic. But I still think that people are so skeptical about organic food. People.
Ma'am, I think you are on mute. Ma'am, they can't hear you. Ma'am, they can't hear you. But
I think we're running out of time.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Ankita, could
I
you please play that
apologize. Yeah,
video?
there was a small glitch in the system. We are back now. Sure, I'll play it again.
How much time do we have?
We have about 5 minutes.
Okay, then I think we'll end with that video. Does anybody have any last comments before we play that video?
Ma'am, as you say the diseases, I have also experienced one of my relatives who had a gallbladder stone problem. So
Okay. Okay. So I think Ankita, we can probably move on to the last slide. Play the video and then we'll come back to this slide. So if you can play the video, please, Ankita. No, stay on the last slide. The video is not on the presentation. The video was shared with you as a link on your email. Yeah. We can't hear anything. There's no sound.
Hello, is the video audible?
No, the video is not audible. I think you'll have to reshare your screen, and there's a tick on the bottom left which says share the sound. You'll have to
yeah.
click on that.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
No, it's not audible. Just stop sharing your screen, Ankita Di. Now when you share your screen again, and when you click on that video, you'll have a tick on the bottom which will say, allow audio. Only then you'll be able to play the audio. No, there is no audio.
It's audio now. It's
No.
audible now. Hello.
Available. No. Can you give me sharing rights? I can share my screen. Then I can just play it on my screen. My screen sharing is disabled. Okay, yeah.
We all know that farmers grow our food. Did you?
Ankita Di?
We are making you the co-host.
Okay. No, I can still not share.
Actually, there's a problem making you the co-host. I'll try it again.
No, the sound is not audible. Okay, let's play the video from the start. I'll play it on my screen also, so they'll be able to hear the sound from my screen. Go to the beginning of the video, Ankita Di. Go to the beginning of the video, Ankita Di. It's in the middle.
When I've given you the remote control access.
Sorry?
I've given you the remote control access.
Remote control. Okay.
We all know that farmers grow our food. But did you know that when they farm sustainably, they do so much more? Say hello to Alice. She mainly grows carrots. She's also a protector of soils. A handful of soil has more living organisms than there are people on planet Earth. And a delicate ecosystem that keeps the soil fertile. Farming organically, she works with nature to grow food in healthy soil rather than using chemicals that harm it. This is Pavel. He might look like a regular guy, guardian of biodiversity. He knows that healthy fields should be teeming with life, from birds and bees to ladybirds and earthworms. So he doesn't use toxic pesticides, which harm wildlife and drive them from their natural habitat. That's why organic farms are home to 30% more species than conventional farms. Here's Maria. She's a defender of the earth. Beyond the field, nitrogen runoff from chemical fertilizers is also contaminating oceans, rivers, and lakes. It is killing fish and other aquatic life. By using compost wisely and avoiding nitrogen surplus, Maria is defending the Earth's water resources, keeping them safe for fish to live in and for us to drink from. By farming sustainably, these superheroes, together with thousands of others, are keeping our plates full of good food, our wildlife safe, planet healthy. Let's celebrate our superheroes. Farmers who farm sustainably, working with nature, not against it.
Thank you, Ankita Di. Can you please go back to the slide? The last slide on the presentation. Right. So I think coming back to why should we do something about food? You know, I'm sitting comfortably in my house. I get food from the market. My health is fine. It's really not affected me anyway. I've been eating, you know, chemical laden food for the last 35 years now, and I've had small health issues, but everybody has health issues, and I don't see any problem around me. I'm not a farmer. I'm not a vulnerable community for climate change, and even climate change, it's still not something that we are able to see in front of us today. It's only in the rear view mirror at the moment. So why should I do something about, you know, organic food or food that we eat, or what have you? So does any last thoughts on why you think that I see there are about 25 people who are attending this session today. So can I'd love to hear from you on what is your reason, or for one, do you think you need to do something about the food, and if yes, why do you think you need to do something about the food? How is it impacting you, and what is it that you can do, or what is it that you want to do?
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, Divyendu, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, as we know that health is wealth, and that is why we all have to keep our health very good. And through organic foods, it will be better for all of us throughout our life and more time. And I think that is why we should take organic foods to keep our health good.
Absolutely. Anybody else wants to, share something?
I want to add some points, ma'am.
Please, Samrat.
About the video, ma'am. In that video, it is been shown that it is not even polluting our environment, but it is also affecting our health. It is affecting our nature and even affecting our water bodies like rivers, lakes, and water fresh water is very limited in our earth, and it is nowadays due to this kind of pollutions, it is not even safe to drink lake water, river water.
Absolutely. And what is one thing that you want to do, Samrat, to make a difference?
The government is already doing like they're purifying the lake waters, but we have to find the cause. The cause of this problem is pesticides and the chemicals which we are using during farming, and the chemicals which are being uh, emitted from our like industries. So we need to make proper laws and check.
Absolutely. Ankita, I think the second one, where there's a picture of the cattle, it'll be go vegan or go vegetarian. Can you change that on the PPT, please? No, not here. Same slide. You see this picture of the cattle? You're on the left, you're on the right slide. Just go on to the slide, Ankita Di. Just go on the slide and just change this. This will be not be grow your own food. It will be go vegan. Okay, I think that's okay. I think everybody. The first one is grow your own food. Second is not grow your own food. It is go vegan or go vegetarian. Third one is buy organic or natural, and fourth one is buy local. Yeah, but anybody else wants to share anything? Thank you so much for sharing your take on this. That definitely we need to reduce our dependence on chemicals. Does anybody else want to share anything?
Hello.
Yes, Saurav, we can hear you.
Future is the age of organic, but the future is the generation of organic. We saw the Punjab model, but we want not to convert in West Bengal or any other region in India like Punjab. So we should move organic. As an agriculture student, it's our duty to convert farmer from best management practices of available resources. Whatever he get from nature, he can use it, like neem oil. It's used as pest repellent. He can practice it rather than chemical pesticides. Or compost, used his vegetable wastage or another wastage as a compost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Anybody else wants to go who's not spoken so far? So I'll quickly share about 4 things that I think it's possible for us to do from our homes and which can have a significant impact on our environment. So starting with, so this is how I got into agriculture and farming, by growing my own food. So I learned firstly, I learned how to grow food, simple things. It's very easy to grow simple things like leafy vegetables or some small plants like cucumbers, etc. On our, if we have roof space or if we have window space, especially if you have just window spaces, leafies grow very well. Very easy to grow your own food, excellent for your health to eat fresh, and it's a great experience. They say that if you learn how to grow food, work with soil, it actually takes care of depression and a lot of other issues too. So great to grow your own food if you can. And I think, as you know, people living in cities, we must start thinking about an ecosystem where we're not dependent on farmers or rural areas to bring our food, but we are also able to grow our own food. A lot of countries like Cuba have now looked at switching their models where they're also growing food in their own cities. Secondly would be buy organic, natural. I understand there are a lot of challenges with buying organic and natural. You don't know if the food that you're getting is genuinely organic or not. It is so expensive. So what do we do? How do we tackle those issues? I think one really great solution that I always advocate to people is please work with local food suppliers. So there are a lot of these local small farmer groups who are coming and trying and selling to us. There are lots of small local shops who are buying from small organic farmers and stocking up food. Those would be a great choice to start with. A, they would not be very expensive. B, you can always go and visit their farms because they're not too far away. A lot of times they also have these options for you to go and visit and see what they are doing. And a lot of them need support from people like us to start buying, because as more and more consumers demand healthy, natural food, is only when farmers will start supplying it, because farmers have to feed their family. They will not grow something which will not get sold. So please, as consumers, start buying, start demanding local food. So with that, we also cover local, but buy as much as local. You're reducing your food miles. You're using, you're reducing the petrol that's going to transport that food to you. That's, energy that's going to store that food for you. So buy as much local. And the last one is not grow your own food. It's about growing vegan or going vegetarian. Because the kind of stress that we're putting on the planet for the meat that it has to produce, a lot of the crops are being grown to feed this cattle, which is then, and a lot of energy is going to grow this cattle. A lot of synthetic hormones, etc., is being put in to grow them more quickly for us. And it's not, it's great for the tongue, but not for our system, not for our body, not for these cattle. The kind of diseases that they suffer from is crazy. And so for us to be consuming all of that meat is really not good for us. So switch to vegetarian, switch to vegan. These are small things that we can do in our daily lives and can make a lot of impact to the food systems across, benefiting the farmers, benefiting the planet. So with this, I would like to end the session. Please do give this a thought. This is a subject which, does not impact us too much directly, but can have a huge impact indirectly. So please do consider.